I'm telling you, I didn't know there was a girl on here yet. I don't know who you are. It's like, for me now, it sounds like a New York kind of loud house song. Like, really, I'm really feeling it. I don't know. I'm going to do it. You know, Anna, I'm going to incorporate it with Peppa's, like you've been, hyping that song on your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you're not playing that song right now, I don't even know what to say. Everybody loves that song.
I know. I gig and I'm like, yeah, she was right. There you go. Worked out. It's a great song. I've been kind of turned on to it for a little bit, but I just started incorporating it. So it's funny. When I saw your face, like, yeah, that's awesome. Hillary, how are you? Cool. So let's get the ball rolling. I was trying to kill a little bit of time as let guest file in because we know there's delays. It's an internet thing where DJs need to wake up early. I get it, everyone. We don't take it personal. But welcome to the QSC DJ discussion. I am your moderator for today, DJ Keelez, and we have an amazing panel of some of my personal favorite DJs. I'm going to let us all kind of go around and introduce each other and let you know a little bit about what we do. But again, I'm DJ Keelez, I'm host of Los Angeles. I am a private event DJ. I do weddings, corporate events. I do, I can't remember what I do right now. I do virtual events. I do a little bit of everything. I do festivals. I am an LGBT wedding expert. I'm a multicultural wedding expert. I do pretty much anything you need music. If you need me at a festival, nightclub, I'm your girl. I'm there too. But I'll be honest, I love a good wedding. It's something about getting home early that I can't complain about. You know what I mean? With that being said, let's introduce everyone else here on our panel. So we're going to get things started with AK. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Hey, AK-47 out of Los Angeles, California. Almost been DJing 8 years. I got my 8-year anniversary coming up next month. I recently joined DJ Keelez and Associates on their roster, so that's big news. Got a DJ contest coming up next weekend for Dinah Shore. Awesome. And I'm just out here working, doing my thing.
You are one of the hardest working DJs I know. Your social media is just constantly blowing up, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh my gosh, so busy.
So busy. Hey, I appreciate you being a part of the team. She's actually going to be rocking an event for me this weekend, Saturday at Susie Cake's Bakery in Pasadena. So check her out from 1 to 3 p.m. Y'all, I'm super stoked to have her representing me this time. So it's going to be a great gig, and there's a good chance you're going to get some cupcakes. So good for you on that.
Listen, I'm all for the freebies. Okay.
There you go. Let me know how that goes. I'm trying. If you get an extra one, send it my way. But with that being said, let's move on to the rest of the amazing panel that we have here. So I'm just going to go down to I'm going to go in my little order here. We're going to start with KrisCut because I see you in my peripheral here. So let's know a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Okay. Is there an echo because of me? Is that good?
No, I think you're good.
No? Okay. All right. DJ KrisCut. I'm originally from the LA area, but I've been in Las Vegas since 2003. I am a pretty much full-time Twitch DJ as well as going back to IRL. It's just been quite a journey. 16 months on Twitch, so really excited about that we're still going strong. And I'm still trying to grind my way through everything. So it's really early for me, so my tongue is not caught up to my mouth. My brain is just like. So I'm trying.
No sleep, yeah. Team no sleep.
Team no sleep is here.
We get it. And then did you tell everybody about your 12K milestone? Did you hear about that at all? I don't know, because that was
it was fun. Yeah, we hit 12,000 followers. Everyone grows at their own pace, and we didn't celebrate much when we hit 11K, but we thought it would be fun to do 12 hours of streaming for 12K, and that was a lot of fun. So that was just a recent thing on Sunday.
You're amazing. You kill it with those long streams. But I don't even know there's long-term streams. Whatever. I can't even think of the proper terminology. I mean,
marathon stream.
Yeah, marathon stream. That's the word I was looking for. I could not for the life of me think of what I meant. Yeah, man. I'm like good in streaming. I'm like about 2 hours in. I'm like, I need a nap. I did a 5-hour convention, which actually was super fun. It was for an actual convention, people popping in. But I'm not going to lie to you. I like collapsed afterwards. I'm like, man, I am mentally worn out. That was a lot between the reading and the energy, but you guys kill it. You kill it. So that's awesome. All right. So the one and only Annalyze. Let us know a little banner behind her on the table. Look at that. That's
I can see it. Yeah, what's up? Annalyze here. I've been DJing 22 years. Turntablist, open format DJ. I also do the corporate events. I do weddings. I actually don't like weddings, but yeah, a little bit of everything here and there. But my main focus has always been kind of on like the turntablist and like the whole like open format party rocking kind of thing. And didn't really do the Twitch thing because I worked the whole time. But yeah, just, staying busy, just staying super busy with DJ work right now.
Yeah, so I mean, that's amazing. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because we are DJs. This is the DJ discussion, and we want to talk about what you all want to hear. Shout out to the chat box, by the way. What is up, Hillary, Gail, Paul? Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. We appreciate you watching. If you at any point have anything to say, feel free to shout it out in the chat box, and we will, answer any questions you have. But with that being said, so just like Anna said, I think we're all kind of crazy busy right now. I know I haven't been able to breathe the past month, so there's that. It's been an interesting time, but I'm definitely enjoying the busyness, but it has been quite the ride. And then same for you, AK, right? I know I saw your schedule just flow.
Oh my God. It's been so busy, and the inquiries just keep coming in. So like literally writing things down is my friend at this point. If I don't write it down, then it's gotten so crazy. Like I have to write everything down as it's happening, even as like inquiries come in and who I gave an estimate to. Like it all needs to be written down because so much stuff is coming in, you know what I mean? So I kind of have to like map it out because like I said, I've been trying to still space my gigs kind of apart and not be out every single weekend. I'm trying to give myself some rest and then not be so exposed because we still have craziness happening in the world and a lot of people still getting sick, but people are definitely like out. People are out. Like I actually thought with the whole resurgence of people getting more COVID and this whole thing happening and that people are going to dial back, but they are not dialing back. They are like baby showers, all the things, bachelorette parties, like people are scheduling events. And also I think just trying to pack it in before the last couple of weeks of summer is over. So yeah, it's been kind of nuts.
Yeah, they're all making up for being locked in the house for so long. And I have a lot of virtual inquiries coming in as well of the live person events here in California. So it's interesting because, California, our numbers are down. I think a lot of people are getting a little confident here, probably more than the other places. I don't know if they're overly confident. That's a different conversation for a different time. But with that being said, I think people are definitely having that sense of, kind of comfort here versus elsewhere. So I'm definitely seeing kind of a tick in both. I have seen the virtual events, go up, and I think that's because of the variant. But it's fine by me. I love them both. Either way, a party's a party for me, virtually or in person. I'm there, so I don't mind either way. But yeah, it's I'm with you. Talking about burnout, that would be something. That is something I do want to talk about because anybody else feeling that lately with all the works coming in? Anna, you said you had a lot of jobs coming in. Do you burn out though? Because you seem like you're constantly going. So I'm not sure between you and KrisCut, I don't know if burnout's a thing.
I mean, Monday through kind of Wednesday, I usually don't do a goddamn thing. So that's how it's like Thursday through Sunday. Like it's like pretty much double stacked right now too. And it's like, it's busy. And then I had to do some stuff with Serato recently, some stuff with Pioneer. Like, it's like, you got that. Plus I teach lessons. So it's like, I had to take a break from my cooking business because I couldn't keep up. So.
I didn't even know you cooked. That's awesome. That's great. You're a well-rounded DJ there. Look at that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's busier now than it's ever been in my entire life. I'm, like I said, 22 years of DJing, and it's like, I can't say no enough right now. And I feel bad. Like I literally, and like AK was saying, it's like, I'm putting the inquiries in my phone and I'm putting them on my like whiteboard over here to make sure like I'm double checking to make sure. Cause like I'll give someone a date and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I'm already booked that day. Mm-hmm. And then I have to call them back, and you feel like a jerk. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I totally hear you there. I know. And KrisCut, for you too, is it the same over there in Vegas? How are you guys doing with all that?
Well, for me, luckily, I've learned to balance enough of it, but I'm not getting as many inquiries. I think it's because I told my agency too. I'm like, I'm still pretty full time on Twitch. But yeah, the weekends are always slammed, and then I Twitch like in between or like after a gig if I'm, like in the mood to. So I've been okay. I finally got a little bit of the balance there. So yeah, I'm kind of finding that it's nice that I still can keep up with my Twitch community and my IRL gigs. And yeah, like kind of like Anna, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is kind of like where it's like you can kind of breathe a little bit, and because it's all about the weekends here in Vegas. So
yeah.
So
I think here too, and I've noticed like a lot of my gigs too, like the extra hour, everybody's booking the extra hour, so it's like you think you're done, like you were saying earlier.
Booking the
Like
extra
you're
hour
so
while,
stoked, you're like
in
the
the
extra
middle of
hour
the event?
hurts, and then they're like, "Hey man, extra hour," and you're like, "All right, well I want X amount more," and they're like, "Sure, no problem," and you're like, "Oh my god, really?" And then like a 4-hour gig is now turning into like a 6 or 7-hour gig, and it's again not a bad problem to have. No one is complaining, but it's just try not to get burnt out is the goal here,
Yeah, and this is overtime rates that they're asking you when you're working that they're used to. Oh yeah, that's one of the. I mean, you got to get that. I think this is something to be said about this, though. I mean, I think this is a time for all the DJs watching. So I think price evaluation is going to play into this so that we avoid burnout, because I think people have to understand about the supply and the demand and just how much we are turning things away right now, and how if you can get us, you should feel lucky that you had the ability to do that and not necessarily complain about the price. You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
We all have to kind of reevaluate that, or else we are going to be burnt out. You take all these little jobs, you have no room for anything or rest, which is super important.
Right.
I think all the DJs after, post-COVID, I guess you could call it, should be raising their prices. I mean, because we are in a situation where we're in crowded places, job after job after job after job after job. You know what I mean? That gets tricky. We also have DJ insurance that we pay for. Recently, I have these like retirement accounts and life insurance and all of this other stuff and health insurance. And that stuff is not stuff that we're getting. We don't have any like union or anything that we belong to where people are taking care of this stuff. It's all out of pocket stuff, So it's not just about, me making this money for this gig, like with the gear, the stuff, like, if you're teaching, if you have a multi-op company, like two of you ladies, like it's an expensive career. Like we spend a lot, we make a lot of money, but we also spend a lot of money also.
Right. But I think the adverse to that is that like, so many people during the quarantine, bought computers in Serato and now they're a DJ. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like
it's super strange. I'm sorry. I'm not here for it.
You're kind of just getting a lot of, like it's great. And for me, it's great because I'm teaching, but like I was saying on the last live stream, like some of my students have only been DJing 6 months, have better gigs than I do.
Hey,
at least but that's something to be said about your level of teaching. Number one, at least they're coming to someone that actually they are seeking help and instruction from someone that actually has been doing this for quite some time. And you actually have a passion and a love for it. That's a different scenario. So you can kind of mold them into being great DJs. It's another scenario when people are like, oh, I just want to be popular. Let me start DJing. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Anna, what were you saying? Didn't cut you off.
No, I was like, you get some of that, but most of the, all my students, I've been like fairly lucky that they're just like very, very passionate and like they're a little bit more like worried on the sense where they're like, well, am I good enough? Am I not? I don't want to be judged. And I'm like, well, you got 30,000 followers, so don't listen to what any of these other people say,
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I hear what you're saying, though. It is true for somebody who's been in 6 months and then they're booking gigs. So what the thing is, in my opinion, with that, I mean, it's a matter of educating the client that's hiring you. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have different client bases. You're going to have the people who care more about the price and the people who care more about the talent. As a matter of fact, I had a client yesterday who I met with, and they were asking about, DJs that were in a lower price point than I was and everything like that. And after talking to them and explaining, I was like, hey, listen, here's the reason why, these people cost X, Y, Z, and there's a difference in price because experience level is different. And I broke it down. They ended up actually saying, listen, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and, book you because it just sounds amazing and everything like that. And it's not that I was trying to sell myself anymore. Their price point was whatever. They decided that it was their priority. They said, listen, if you're available, we're going to spend the money, to hire you if we can do it. Because some people prioritize that, where I've met with people who are like, yeah, no, we just care about the price. Like, it's fine. But with that being said, when people are talking about hiring another company or another DJ and they're like, hey, well, this DJ charged that, I am notorious for saying, well, that DJ is not me. and that DJ doesn't DJ like I do. So cool. If that's what you want and you want the price, that's fine. But if you want me, this is what I cost, and here's why I cost that. And I think that the lesson for that is understanding your value and your worth as a DJ. And, you know, I try to respect everybody, and my price point's not crazy different in terms of the associate DJs that work for me or anything like that, because I have a lot of experienced DJs and everything like that. But with that being said, you know, you have to put in account your price, your experience level, your place in whatever you're doing in the booking process and everything like that, and you charge accordingly. But, you know, for your talent, especially with business aside, you have to value yourself and say, I've been doing this for XYZ, and your students are fine. And, you know, and just like that client who's paying your student 6 months, you can be like, hey, that's great. That DJ, I'm not saying that DJ's bad. I'm just saying I am a different type of DJ, and I am doing everything in my own right. And this is why my price point is that. And more power to you. So do you want the experience or do you want the price? Sure, that's something to consider.
Great segue to the question in the chat.
I know. I was just gonna get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tiara said, "Can we touch or speak on how we come up with our price rate based on service, and how we go about managing those who tell you your price is too much?" So we did kind of like touch on that. Yeah, I didn't even see that until after I was done talking. So yes, so we can all kind of answer that question a little bit. I'd be curious to see how everybody feels on that. So for me personally, with like I just touched on right now, you know, when it comes to setting my own price and rate and managing that, like that's exactly what I said. Is I just own it. I know what my value is, but I also, competitively speaking, know what my competitors charge, and I know when, you know, you're pushing it, and also when you're reasonably charging yourself. And I mean, honestly, sometimes there's a lot of room to grow in this industry. You'd be surprised. I've had people say, "Oh, do you know this company quoted me $8,000?" And like literally, I want to throw my phone and smash it on the sidewalk. I'm like, "You're kidding me that they're charging you that much?" But with that being said, it's a learning process to say, hey, so for me, I'm constantly educating myself. I am, you know, looking to see what other people are charging. I'm pricing myself accordingly. But the most important thing is to price yourself with what you feel you're worth and what you feel you want to make. You know what I mean? Don't worry about anybody else. That's my personal advice. But I want to move around the panel and ask everybody. So KrisCut, you have multi-app kind of business going on too and everything like that. So how would you answer that question?
Yeah, so as far as too, I think, you know, tagging on the fact that too, like I'm lucky, like you guys have the LA part, I have the Vegas part. So, you know, like they say, oh, you know, main cities like us, we have that opportunity to kind of use like where we live too, because not everyone can be like well-known Vegas DJ or LA DJ because that market is so saturated, right? So we have those saturated markets. So to put ourselves apart, you know, it really is all about, like you said, Keelez, like, are you trying to book just any DJ or are you trying to book me?
Right.
And then you have to be like, okay, well, this is why I feel, you know, and you have to be confident in it. You can be like, oh, well, what's your budget? You know, you could ask what's your budget, but at the same time, you know, you want to work. If you really want the gig, go for it. But you don't want to be DJing at the gig because you're getting paid like $25 an hour and you're like miserable and grumbling. You know, you got to really be satisfied with the rate that you get, because then otherwise it shows when you're DJing. You're like, oh man, I'm only get like 20. Like, you know, I know a lot of us are not going to take $25 an hour in this panel for real, because, you know, there's so much experience in this shit. Oh, maybe. But, you know, like for a beginner DJ, and we always talk about that too, because, you know, everyone has to start somewhere, right?
Exactly.
So it's
even
really
when I was a
difficult
beginner,
to, like,
I wasn't taking
you
that.
can't, you can't scold. Like, you can't really scold them. You can only educate like the newer DJs and be like, hey, you got to be careful with your pricing, because if someone finds out you're charging $20 an hour because you think that's better than, you know, the $9 an hour retail job you had, DJing's a different level of, you know, you know, price pointing. So yeah,
there's a lot that goes into that too. And you're right. And you know, at the end of the day, it's also a learning experience. You got to I get it. When you're excited and you first start DJing, those gigs that come, I mean, look, I'm guilty. When you said, AK said, who made that? I'll be honest. When I started, I took 6-hour gigs that paid me $100 an hour. You do the math. That was less than 25 because I was so desperate to DJ. I think we've all been guilty. I don't know, me personally. I learned from there, but I was so desperate to DJ that I was like, okay, cool. I thought it was what it was. You know, my first wedding I did, I think I charged like $250. I just I wanted the experience. I didn't know what the pricing was at that point. And also I didn't have the experience to charge these people lots of money. So if I had mistakes to be made, I said, I want these people to be like, look, that was a great price. So they're not even going to bring it up to me. So I wanted to learn. But as I learned, my price increased, and now I look back, I said I would never do that, because we all know the person who wants to pay $250 also wants you on the third floor on a balcony with no elevator, and you got to bring 87 mics and no assist. It's a whole thing. So we all learn, but I think that it's a learning process, and the excitement of DJing, I think, kind of whatever. And so if you want to do it and that's your thing to learn, but I think eventually you do kind of learn, hey, listen, you have to have boundaries. It's not all peaches and cream and roses and whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's a part to this business that you don't think about. Physically exhausting, mentally exhausting, a lot of equipment, there's tons. But
details are key.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, details are key, because like you said, like if you're be like, hey, how much for 4 hours to DJ? And you're like, oh, $250. And they don't tell you, oh, you're like you said, on a balcony, the Empire, or you're in the Empire State Building lobby. Then you're like, oh, shoot, I could have charged more, right?
Right.
So details as a new DJ. Yeah. Find out what you need to bring. Find out how many hours. Like, do you have to like park somewhere funky, especially in LA for you guys, right?
Parking,
you guys got to park somewhere crazy, So that's details.
Is a nightmare here, and it's like I get like pre-parking anxiety when I'm going to an event, because if there's nowhere for me to even load in, it's like now I'm like bringing half my stuff with me, sitting in the car. People can see it. It's like if it's just me, unless I have someone to help me load,
Yeah, no, that's it. With the load in and the parking space, I know I'm normally pretty good at covering those details beforehand. But yeah, in LA, you never know what
it's a little tougher. You're doing like a storefront, you know what I mean? At like Hollywood and Vine, one of those stores there. There's nowhere to load there, dude. Absolutely nowhere.
I did an event on Western and something else, and I'm like, how am I going to do that? And then it was like, you have to load in here, but the parking garage is 3 blocks that way.
Yeah, like I've done a couple of those stores in there like that, and I would put my flashers on for like a second, and I'm already getting screamed at by like parking enforcement, and I'm like, oh my God, I only got one speaker out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no way I can walk blocks with like a parking garage, legit.
Yeah. It's true. It's so true. I know. Yeah. A lot of people don't factor those things in. I mean, it's definitely a learning process indeed. And then, I mean, and AK, I'm sure you probably experienced, because you work in LA most of the time too, right? AK?
Okay. Yeah. I work in LA a lot of times. But pricing wise, for me, the school that I went to, Scratch Academy, they pretty much gave us a range of what we should be asking for coming out of school based on the knowledge that we had. And I can tell you this, almost 8 years into it, I thought I was dope when I graduated. I sucked when I graduated. So the pricing was fine for then. What I ended up doing is giving myself a raise every year on my DJ anniversary, just to kind of go with, current pricing of things. And, I just consider what I spend, you know what I'm saying? I have just kind of mapped out, if I'm buying industry standard gear, you know what I'm saying? What is the needs of your event? I don't have a base price for anything. It's not like a one size fits all thing, because there's a lot of factors. Like you said, it's the logistics. How are we set up? Like where will I be DJing? Is it going to be a place that's problematic or tricky to set up in? Like, am I going to have to get anything extra? All of those things you have to take into consideration. And also, how many hours did I use to prep? Did I have to buy additional music that I do not have? Like all of those things are factors. So you have to ask a lot of questions. That's why I don't like to do business on Instagram. That's why I don't like to do business through text. I like to have an email, because there is a proper way to get you a quote. And my first year of DJing, I learned the hard way of giving the price before I get the information. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I definitely didn't charge enough. And if I run into a client where the price seems too much, I mean, I'm not upset about it, because they just don't know the ins and outs of what it costs me to be in business. So if you don't realize that and you think that it's too expensive, then I'm just not your DJ. We move on, because I just am not at a place in my career where I'm doing bargain or discount jobs, unless it's an actual specific reason. I did a job, the one that I was on the balcony that we were joking about, Keelez. That job was for a friend of mine who passed away. His mom wanted to have a birthday party. I didn't charge her. Period. I just didn't charge her, because I just felt like I didn't feel good about charging her for something like that. But other than that, I cost a lot. And that's just that. And if I'm not your price point, I get it. I can refer you to somebody else. But me, I'm not doing any more budget jobs. I've done my time with that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. I mean, I think that's it. And it comes with time and experience too. And I think, I think increasing your pricing as the year goes, or as you reach milestones and anniversaries, it's smart. And I do want to touch on that too, AK, because I have you to use an example for that too, because you were talking about your equipment and everything like that. You investing in yourself as a DJ, it pays off in the long run, because the better quality equipment you have, people notice. Speaking, QSC is a great example of that. QSC speakers sound better than your average speakers. Anybody who has used them,
hands down.
Yeah, you know that they're crystal clear. They have settings that you can adjust based on your scenario. If you need your vocal to pop, if you need more bass, you can set and you can go as needed. And yes, they're a little more expensive than the other brands, but the reason being is because you have that versatility. You go and buy some of these other brands, which shall not be named on this particular panel. They have one setting, you plug in an XLR, you turn them on.
Feedback. It's like,
It sounds like a tin can. It just sounds like that tinny,
Yeah,
QSC, crystal clear mic feed. Like, it's the sound quality is unmatched.
Unmatched.
You get what you pay for.
And with that being said, so as I was going to say, I was going to use you as an example. Okay, so recently I had a client who specifically requested you as their DJ, no questions asked. They're like, no, we want to talk about AK, and I don't want to talk about anybody else. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. So it's great. So they came, they had seen you on my website. From my website, they went to your Instagram page. From there, they went back to me and said, yeah, we love her. Like I said, they were just ready to go. And then so as I was prepping them and everything like that, they were like, yeah, well, one of the main things that we really liked about her, we really liked the fact that she, has like a vinyl setup, because, you've been posting about your brand new, beautiful white rain setup that you have that's gorgeous. They saw that and they loved it. And they were like, we totally love it. And, she has the equipment we need. She's got the talent that we need, and we want to move forward. And it was like, they didn't even have to meet with you. They were just so confident based on everything that they saw. And then speaking with me.
I mean, because you don't realize that clients, I know that other DJs know the gear. We know the gear because we buy the gear, but that's interesting that you say that clients actually realize that you have good gear, also like quality gear.
I get that all the time, because like my one residency has turntables, and like people's minds are blown when they see them. They're like, oh my God, you're a real DJ? Like they're literally like blown. They're like,
well, that's what it is. Yeah, they see that and they equate that with being a real DJ. And I was talking to the client and I said, hey, so that's good to know. I'm like, I know that, I need to emphasize that. Like, yeah, that who exactly, uses vinyl versus not versus whatever. And I'm like, something said, but props to you that you made the investment in yourself, first of all. Second of all, that you were putting yourself out there, that you were using that, and that, that now that your money was more worthwhile, because you just booked a client that hopefully is going to pay for part of that equipment that you just bought. You know what I mean? So you can take that job and minus whatever you pay for that new equipment. That's the money you just saved on that equipment right there, because they specifically booked you for that. So that's not telling you in terms of how important it is to invest in yourself and your equipment. There's nothing else to it. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's also a matter of, knowing the right people and working for people. Because with that scenario, with that being said, they found you on my site, went to you, came back to me, talked to me, trusted, my sales in terms of you, loved you already, that it eliminated that middleman and instantaneously, wow, you know what I mean? It gave you that extra oomph and, kind of thing you needed when you're dealing with weddings. It's a moment where somebody really has to trust you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it was a really cool circle that I witnessed right there. And the fact that they didn't even have to meet you because they just trusted you so much based off of your social media is so telling, because you're investing time in that social media, you're investing time in your equipment. So that being said, invest in yourself, bottom line is all I got to say with that.
And I like what you said about your being honest with yourself at the level of experience you have, and having that be a factor in what you're charging as well. Because if you've never done a wedding, in your mind as a new DJ, you think, oh, I got it. But it's so many nuances and things that go on with having a successful wedding, DJing it well, it running smooth. And if you don't have that skill set, it's like if you come through the door charging $3,500 and you don't have the skill set, make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, as we all go on our journeys and want to do different things, like I'd like to do some festivals. Have I done one? No, I'm not going to be charging $30,000 when I get to my first festival, because it's just crazy. Like I don't have the skill set yet. You have to build it. So that's also really important and really smart. And I do that myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and also with those festivals too, there's a fan base. There's a lot that goes into that too.
Oh my God. It's crazy town. Scary.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Anna, have you worked festivals?
Yeah, but I was always working with an artist. Like I worked with Lady Sovereign for years, and I did some stuff with DJ Quick. But we were doing the big festivals, like Leeds and the Reading festivals in London, like those massive, like 40,000 people. And we did a really big one in Australia, Park Life. I don't even remember how big that was, but it was dope because I would DJ before she went on. So I would DJ for like 30 minutes before she got on. So I got to get the crowd like hyped, get on the mic, jump up and down, get everybody like excited. So I guess you can kind of say I played some festivals, not as DJ Annalyze, but as the hype DJ.
You were still DJ Analyzing.
Yeah, but it was like, it was absolutely wild to just watch those crowds like go insane, like, and how hype you can get that.
It's like, so intimidating though, because I don't think a lot of people understand how sound is when you get in bigger spaces, warehouses, fields, festival. It's very, it's a beast.
Well, for her too, like at the time I knew like that whole like, you know, MIA Santa Gold sound was big. So I was just like dropping all those kind of bangers and with like some of the new stuff. So it's like her fan base already likes that stuff. So
they're probably going
like,
nuts.
They were going fucking crazy. You would get them like hanging from the speakers and like all that stuff. And like I said, we were doing all those big festivals. I'm talking festivals with like, you know, Radiohead and like Basement Jacks and Tool.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, Kanye was on one of them. Like those ones where they have like the 6 stages. We did one with Pharrell. I got to meet Pharrell, and it was like, it was pretty insane. But yeah, like I said, I had that 30 minutes before she went on, and I got to do all that. It was fun. Cool. It was before the Instagram days, though, so nobody knows about it. But it's here.
You're there.
What matters? That's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good segue, I guess. Tiara is asking, since we're talking about festivals and what we do event-wise, so we have another question here, and they're saying, how does one find their ideal market? So that's, I think, a very interesting question. I would like to touch on what everybody thinks their ideal market is and how they found them. Me personally, I've done nightclubs, I've done bars and everything like that. You know, I love a good LGBT nightclub. Don't get me wrong, they're fun, they're a great time. But for me, I found my love of doing weddings, and you know, it stemmed from legalizing of LGBT weddings and understanding that there was a need there. But I do all weddings, and so from there, I just learned, you know, weddings is just a different beast. And also, weddings don't have to be cheesy. You can find clients. Speaking of ideal, you can find ideal clients who they're looking for DJs that don't do the cheesy stuff. They're looking for DJs that have the vinyl. They're looking for DJs that actually DJ, that are really cool DJs that are going to make them look good. So that client exists. And then you have the client. The other day, I didn't get booked for a job because they said, are your DJs willing to step in the center and show people how to do group dances? I was like, no, we don't. I hear you. I mean,
you said no.
Listen, I said, we're probably not going to be the people in the center of the thing with sweaty armpits. That's just not us. But I said, we'll get on the microphone and we'll call your homegirl out and we'll be like, yo, follow the chick in the blue dress. Like, I wouldn't say chick. I don't know that. But you know what I mean? Follow the lovely lady in the blue dress right here that is doing whatever. You know, we could do it that way. But I was like, yeah, I can't imagine my crew being the people who are going to be in the center. I mean, like, look, I'm sure we probably know how to do the Cupid Shuffle, but I couldn't imagine, you know, and I wouldn't put that on somebody because for me personally, I'm like, I'm not going to miss my transition because you needed me to show you how to do it. Somebody who was going to be in the center and do that. And I'm like, that's what you want. Cool. Good for you. And I hope that they found that and that was perfectly fine. But it is what it is. So anyway, with that being said, you have to own yourself and own who you are. But I'll also tell everybody, listen, I am super high energy. I drink like 5 cups a day. I'm Puerto Rican. I will talk you in circles. When I DJ and I MC, I'm very high energy and I have a good time. So if you want somebody who's mellow and chill, you know, it's probably not me. You know, I'm going to be honest with you because 5 hours of me being quiet, I'm literally like about to burst. So stuff where they can like let me do that. But also I know when I need to tone it down and I'm not going to sacrifice a good opportunity. Like if they don't want me to talk, cool, I'll turn the mic off and whatever. But with that being said, I'm going to, for the most part, try to find the jobs where I can truly be myself and be on the mic and have fun and play what I want without necessarily having to veer too far away from that, because that takes away from the creative experience, which is part of the fun of what we do for a living. So that's my personal long-winded answer. But for somebody else, feel free to chime in. Anybody have any thing they want to say, feel free to raise your hand or let me know.
I've been DJing for 22 years, so I've literally been through all of it. Like I started out and I was like a rave DJ because in the 90s, the raves are like what everybody did. So yeah, I kind of started out there and I, did the house music thing. I did some breaks and 2-step, like some stuff like that. And then like kind of as I evolved more, you know, it was like, you know, I got into scratching, and then I met DJ Shorty, and I started focusing more on like that end. I was doing events for like Stanton and like other bigger, like, you know, product companies and like the NAMM show and stuff. But I was still always doing like shows on the side. And then I think it was around the time that I was with DJ Quick. It was like 06. And I realized like, you know, I was doing like the whole electro clash thing, like just genre to genre to genre, and just kind of all over, playing warehouses, but then also doing big corporate events, you know. And then I kind of just got to a point in my life where I was like, all right, no more warehouses, no more this. Like, I think it's time to like kind of be in a professional setting. I remember it was actually, I was about to sign a contract with Shure when Shure was making needles, and the guy was coming out to see me, and it was a booking in Chicago. And I found out when I got there, because my booking agent had booked it, and I didn't know it was in a warehouse. And I can't make, you know, this Shure employee go to like an undisclosed place like in the south side of Chicago to go watch me DJ to make sure I can get this like sponsorship. Sure doesn't even make needles anymore. So, but back then, you know, like
I'm still heartbroken about that
because I was like, I lost the sponsorship because of that. And I think around that time was when I started to realize like, all right, no more of like, you know, the rave thing. I mean, if that's your thing, like that's cool. But like for me, I was ready to kind of go more on the professional side of things. And then I started, you know, doing the whole open format thing, and which I just fell right into. It was like much easier for me. You know, I'd always loved hip hop and look at the scratching and everything. You know, the DJ AM thing was really big at the time. You know, that's around the time I met you, KrisCut, too. And I was going to Vegas, and that was like the thing. And I think from then on, like I said, at that point, I'd probably been DJing like 7 years. Like I really figured out like my niche was like clubs, you know, and then again, I moved out to LA, and then it was like, oh, like way more corporate events. And now it's like, you know, it's just like a balance of both. So I don't think you're ever just one DJ. You know what I mean? Like you kind of just, you figure out like things you like to do. Cause then like, you know, there could be an event that I wouldn't normally do, but then I find out like, you know, this could be really dope, or it pays really well, or whatever it is. And you're like, oh, okay. You know, you kind of stay open to those things too. You know, I don't just pigeonhole myself as just this, you know?
Yeah, no, I would say with that being said, you can close yourself off to a lot of opportunities. I think the more versatile you are as a DJ, the more you can take jobs. You know what I mean? Like your willingness to do corporate versus wedding versus nightclub versus whatever is going to dictate how, I mean, the more you're willing to do, the more money you're going to bring in. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, you can make just as much money doing weddings as you can nightclub gigs. You know what I mean? The money's to be made, depending on what you want to do. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting but it's also a matter of saying your comfort level in terms of what you want to do, what you want to play. But with that being said, like, you know, I do a lot of multicultural stuff. The other day I did an Indian event where they wanted, like, it was 85% Indian music. But with that being said, that Bollywood music bops. I just want to say.
Okay, so Keelez, where did you get the music?
So a little bit of everywhere. So, I mean, I just did my kind of research on Bollywood hits since like the 2000s. And the client gave me a really good list to kind of start off. So what I did is I took the client's list, saw what they had liked on there, that I literally kind of Google searched similar artists, and I just went into this rabbit hole of learning music. I mean, it was time consuming. Don't get me wrong. It took time to create a set, but at the event, I played so well that people were coming up to me. They're like, "Are you half?" And I couldn't even understand what they were saying. Are you half Southern? Are you half, like, they thought for sure that I had to have some sort of cultural knowledge, because they're like, "You're paying some amazing music." And I mean, I had to play dinner music and dance music. So I had to go with the slower stuff and the faster stuff. And it was interesting just to learn how much different types of music and how it sounds. And it's very interesting. But with that being said, it's amazing to, when I learned it and just to see the reaction and just how crazy it is. And then like all of a sudden you're rocking to it and you have no idea what the music's saying. And you're just like, I don't know what it is.
You're loving it. Play either. That is not an easy genre to play.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but now, you know, I have that experience, and I've done those events before, so I did have some experience going into it, so don't get me wrong, but this was one of the ones I did where it was probably the most percentage that they were like, yeah, we want a lot of it, like way more than American, so I was very kind of like nervous going in, but I rocked it. I killed it. Even at the end, the client came up to me and he's like, "You're like me, you like good music, like that was great." So I was like, you know, I made it all worthwhile just to hear that. But with that being said, because of my versatility, I was able to book the gig. I got the experience, and I made this, you know, whole room full of people of a culture that I wasn't familiar with happy, and this is just a great feeling. But
and to anyone out there that's a DJ, like that right there, like being told, like, you get this, you understand the music, you're this, you're that, like that right there will literally is like, that's worth more than like the payment you're getting. Like it's just like this different kind of vibe you get with like the client, and you're just like, you like almost forget what you're doing and that you get to do what you love sometimes, you know, and then like you have that. And
oh yeah,
it's so rewarding. It is so rewarding to get
it makes all the work worth it. It makes the stress of just finding the tracks and just like everything. It's just like, the fact that, you know, you're like that, and that they appreciate you, that they appreciate the work you did. I mean, I think that's just tough, but that goes to say why you should find your ideal client, because the ideal client is the person that's going to appreciate that you put in that work. Because for that being said, this is a client in Beverly Hills. It could have been a client in Beverly Hills that literally could care less that you were there, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool, you know, whatever. Because like some clients are like that, you know what I mean? But anyway, with that being said, that's just a prime example of being versatile and being able to have cool experiences and expand your DJ knowledge. So now if I'm at an event and somebody just happens to come up to me, now I'm like, oh, actually, wait, I have you. And I know it's a bop. I know it's going to kind of span the genres.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But KrisCut or AK, do you guys have anything to add to this particular topic in terms of ideal clients or anything like that? Or ideal markets?
I just think over time, you know, it's just me being an open format DJ, I get to do a lot of different jobs. You know, people call me for a lot of different things because I'm able to play different types of music. So I don't know if I have a specific market per se, you know, because I don't limit myself to jobs. I mean, the one thing I don't deal with children. I don't want to do children's parties. I don't want to do high school parties. I don't want to do any of that.
Noted. I'm taking
noted. She's like noted.
I have had a couple of those, and the couple that I did whooped my behind and let me know that I am not cut out to handle those. Those are tough clients. Children, I can't do it. So other than that, like, you know, I'm down for whatever. I just can't do the children. I can't do it, especially the children with rich parents. I can't do it.
You know,
they're literally just there and they're like, play this.
Oh yeah.
It's like, don't even think about putting a set together. Please have your Spotify or whatever streaming service and just play what they tell you, because if you even try it, they're like, what is this? And turn it off right now. We hate it. It's stressful. It's stressful.
And they'll tell you too. They'll say, yeah, no, we don't like this. Can you put this on now?
And they're like, it's by Baby Bop and Arthur Cat. And you're like, who?
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, I've never heard that in my life. And then they're there to just and then they start to do this math mob mentality where they send their friends. And it's a whole thing. I've been surrounded at elementary school before. I'm like, yo, where did all you kids come from? When
it's scary. It's the most frightening thing on earth to work with
one after another, after another.
My God.
And it's like,
and we deal with that now, man, with people sending like the guy and then we won't play their request. They'll send the girlfriend or, you know, vice versa.
They start sending all the friends. I had a guy this weekend though. It was so funny because this weekend I was playing, and I'm not, the place that I play doesn't really want hip hop, which kills my soul. But anyways, he was like, I'm going to pay you X amount to, you know, to play this song. And I was like, well, I can't, you know? So he walked up to my manager and he gave the money to my manager. And it was actually $100 to like play this song. And it was one of the new Drake songs. And my manager was like, actually, he's like, yeah, play it. And I was like, all right. So I got $100.
Did you get that $100?
I got that $100.
Okay.
And my manager was like, just let half the song play. I let the song play. Nobody even moved. Nobody even cared. He didn't even care because I think he thought there was going to be like a reaction. He thought everybody was going to like freak out. And it was like, I was like more embarrassed for him. I was just like, well, all right.
Did not land
at all. So yeah.
People love to do that. I mean, I've more times than I can count. I've had people pay large sums of money for one song, and then you're like, why this song of all the songs to want to pay?
And their dance floor, they will clear your dance floor. So.
And then you're just looking at them like, thanks. You know what I mean? Just like that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, have any of you guys tried, I don't know the name of that new app where they're allowed to like text you through your phone. Have you seen it? I saw
the request. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? I saw.
Yeah, I forget what the name of it is. I used it for one of my gigs. I think I used it for my first gig back.
In order to send it, they have to pay you, right? I think so.
Oh no, it's a free one. The one that I use is free.
It's a new one. No, it's like a new one, and you're like QR codes like on your computer. They scan it. I saw a video recently. It was within the past few weeks. They scan it, and then they can like message you what they want, and then they have to pay you. Wow. I'll find out. I'll have it for the next discussion.
Yeah, that was awesome. Is there a reject button? Like, can you reject the request
right.
and send them your money?
Send them money back.
I don't want to play your song. Reject.
Is there like a pay them to stop sending you message button? Like, this here's the dollar. Block it. Right. I mean, it's amazing. People, and it's so funny too because people love to request songs that are in the same like key and genre that you're playing, acting like they create. And you're like, dude, the only reason you request that song is because it sounds so similar. Or sometimes they request the same song you're playing, and you're like, listen, a little harder, man. What song did you just say? I know that's probably happening a lot.
Yeah.
I love when they'll ask for it while the song is playing, and I'm just like, "Are you fucking deaf? Like it's playing right
It's
now."
right here.
But that's one of those like the whole like send all your friends up. So they're just like part of the line, you know, the circle, whatever you want to call it, that are just coming up to request it. And I'm like, well, your song is playing right now, so I don't know what to tell you.
And the next best thing, we're like, did you play
it again?
Did you play XYZ already? And you're like, yeah, I just played it. They're like, yeah, can you play it again? And you're like, did you?
Oh, can you play it again? Is the worst. Like,
oh my God, it's the micromanaging for me. Do you walk into heart surgery and say, you know what, that tool, I got a better version of that. You should use this. It's like, what makes people so entitled that they feel like they can just walk up to us and like, you have no idea what's going on. You don't know if we're only on a strict list, like stay to this list, don't deviate. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So it's like, we have the one job where people are like, oh no, I can tell you how to do this better. You should play this. You should, I don't know what it is about DJs that make people so comfortable to do that. It's annoying.
And I just got to point something else out yeah, there's an echo.
Now there's an echo.
Let's see here. You guys hear it?
I heard it all of a sudden. I don't know what happened with anybody's settings.
Okay, no worries. I'll keep going. Okay, there it's better now. Okay, cool. Perfect. So what I was going to say is, speaking of what we were just talking about in terms of that, what is with men? No, and not to genderize, but I'm just saying it's overwhelmingly men who DJ'd in high school who, when they see that you're a DJ, and they're like, "Oh, I used to DJ in high school."
Is that Serato?
Yeah.
Always, every time. Like, yeah, it's Serato.
It's their whole. That happened to me. I was waiting for my car to do an oil change, and then I had a my laptop out, which I hate to, but my laptop has my logo all big on there. So anyway, with that being said, I went and was working, and I had my headphones in, and I'm like, oh, the headphones symbolize don't talk to me. But of course, there was the one guy who I saw him staring at me the whole time with his little coffee mug, just staring the whole time. Then he comes up to me and he's like, "You DJ?" I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "I DJ'd in high school," but and there's this whole like 30-minute rant of how he did like a high school dance back in the day, and and then at one point I was just like, yeah, it's amazing. I was like, you'd be surprised, you can actually make a career out of it. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I just did it in high school. And then he like totally diminishes the fact that I'm like a professional DJ. But I'm like, bro, good. So like, the point of this conversation was for me to just say, good for you that you DJ'd in high school. Like, stop bothering me. But with that being said, it's amazing. It is just what you have to deal with being a DJ. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Analyze too. I'm sure, well, all of us, like, you know, that use the turntable, like when you're using a controller where you need a controller at a portable gig, you know, they always love seeing turntables, like hands down. They're like, turntable is cool.
That's extra.
They always, like, if you're doing a retail or like a restaurant or something, and be like, back in my day, I used vinyl, you know, like in that
always
thing, like,
always.
Man, they look at like,
they'll say, can you do this without looking at the screen? I'm
can
like,
you
yeah,
do this? Yeah, can you scratch
yes,
so I can, you know, and you're like, oh no, stop it.
Yeah, they'll literally go like that on my screen, and I'm like, bro, I mix by ears still. I don't need to look at the waveform.
Say that again so the people in the back can hear you.
I
mix with your ears, not your eyes.
Which is why I'll probably be deaf in 10 years. But no, but for real. Speaking of which, I'm actually going to get my ears cleaned tomorrow, and you guys should wear earplugs when you DJ. I don't know if you guys do, but I do. Anyways,
what kind of earplugs do you use, Anna?
I use the musician in-ear ones.
Is there a specific brand that you use?
I don't know. You just go to an audiologist. They all have them.
Oh, an audiologist. What the heck is that?
Oh, you gotta get your ears checked. If you haven't done it yet as a DJ, you should get your ears checked regularly. I mean, just
when I'm doing something like a smaller, like corporate, like, you know, kind of like a restaurant bar thing, I don't think it's as important to wear them. It's when you're doing like the loud clubs and you got the bass, because that's what's damaging to your ears. And you know, I was bottle service DJ for years, so that's the stuff I was, you know, constantly playing. So I always played with them in. And they just cut out the right amount of bass, but you can still hear.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you're not banging it like super loud, I wouldn't be too worried. But it's more like the duration too. It's the amount of hours. If you're doing really long sets, it's kind of important too to wear them. But
wow.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna have another thing added on the list. How often are you ladies getting your ears checked?
Oh my gosh. Best thing I ever did 2 years ago was flush my ears at a CVS Minute Clinic. Oh my gosh, best thing I ever did because my ears were bugging.
Yeah,
it was.
I do
best
that
$140 ever.
It is so worth it. Clean them out because like from the loud music too, it just it's kind of nasty, but like wax build up and like all that.
Well, the sweat in the headphones and the earbuds, all the dirt gets
all
pushed into your ear.
Oh yeah, would you say it was called ear? Is it ear cleaning or what is it called?
Oh, you go to the CVS Minute Clinic and pay $140 if you don't have insurance, and they pretty much help flush your ears out. And after like 20 years of not doing that, like, you know,
I go right to the audiologist. It's $30 an ear. It's even cheaper. And they put like this little camera in there, and you can watch them.
Anna, I will be in your DMs. This audiologist thing is
I started doing it at a young age. Like God, in like 01, I started and I got the professional earplugs, and I've always had them. But then this last year, all my gigs, I had no monitor. So I was like mixing in my headphones. So it's like, it's kind of pointless to wear earplugs when you have headphones on.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm starting to get booked again. Like I played in Catalina a couple weeks ago. And
how was that?
It was so much fun. It was the Catalina wine mixer. It was insane. It's a real thing. It really happens now. It was awesome. I literally had the best time in Catalina. But the club was so loud, and because I hadn't had my ears cleaned in a while, I didn't want to put my earplugs in because it kind of pushes everything around and it could mess with everything. So I didn't. And then since then, my ears have been ringing really bad. So I'm going to go get them cleaned tomorrow. But it's definitely something important. Like if you're going to be playing loud.
Oh yeah, I'm going to I wrote that down. I'm on it. I'm on top of that. Here I am. I'm so professional. Meanwhile, my ears are probably like, girl.
Look, we are, just because you're professional, it's always a learning game. I mean, even Anne's been doing this for 20 plus years. Something. I mean, we've all been doing this for decades. I learn something every day. So, I mean, just, like the ear flush, like I didn't know about the ear flush. I'm going to go check that out too. Like that's something crazy. But as a DJ, just like with any profession, our ears are our money. You got to protect your ears because that's what's going to make the longevity of your career. Same. I mean, I'll be honest, not to call myself out like that, but I have no shame. I fell yesterday on the treadmill at the gym. Long story. We won't get into it, but let's just be very careful on treadmills, everyone. But when I fell, I had to think really quickly of how I wanted to land. And the first thought in my head is, oh my God, I don't want to land with my hands because I need my hands for work. I have all these gigs. I said, I need my wrist. I need my hands. So I literally had my hands in the air and I like slid.
You're like, screw my hips.
I can wheel in and I'll be good. I just need my hands. So I literally had to think like that because it's like, that's my money. If I break my hands, I can't work. And it's a thing.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. I mean, my back got a little bruised and my hips a little sore, but I'll be all right. I'll live it. It's nothing. My ego's more bruised than anything else. I will be
okay.
all right.
We don't want to find you on TikTok, Keelez.
Anytime.
Nobody. So I could post it before them, but they wouldn't give it to me. It was a whole thing. But with that being said, it was all good. But I would say insider tip for those earbud things, not to say at NAMM show. Every year, there's certain companies that will give you free pairs of those. So if you play your cards right at NAMM show, and if you want to DM it, I'll let you know.
Oh, wow, see, I didn't even know that.
They'll do the free.
I was looking at some. They're like $1,000.
Yeah, they'll do a free mold, but there's a company too that you can get just basic earbuds that you don't have to get molded, but they have different sizes that you can always figure out the best ones, but you can get them molded and you can get a lot of discounted stuff there. So the NAMM show is a great place to get ear things. If you have the money, you can pay for the higher end. If you want to get the freebies, you can get a couple great free, good quality earbuds. So
I don't think I've ever paid more than like $250 to get the in-ear ones. Like it's not that bad. Like for a DJ, it's worth it for us, to save our ears.
Absolutely. I mean, your ears are your money, man. I'm trying to say it. Yeah. Wow. This was a great conversation, everybody. I'm super stoked. I mean, I knew this panel was going to be amazing, but I mean, I just love all the knowledge.
Yeah. Thank you, Anna, for the information for the ears. I really appreciate it. I'm definitely going to follow up.
Well, we're in the land of like musicians too. So it's like, you can go anywhere in LA because all the, everybody that's in the bands and like all the rock stars and stuff, like they all wear in-ears. So there's so many audiologists in this city because of that alone. So
absolutely. Yeah, look at that QSED discussion, saving careers and saving ears. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'll see myself out. I think we're actually running low on time here. And then QSC is shouting out downbeat earplugs. So downbeat earplugs, everyone, look in the comment section. You want a good set of earplugs to check out. There you go. Direct from the source, QSC is recommended. So once again, downbeat earplugs. Check them out. In addition to QSC speakers, who again is sponsoring today's panel, which we are wrapping up because we're running short on time. I can't believe they only give us an hour. I wish we could talk all day, but you know what, y'all? too. We got emails to answer, and they're piling up as we speak, so we can only give you an hour. So, with that being said, I do want to be respectful of your guys' time, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in the chat box. We really appreciate you. We will be back here where they do a DJ discussion I don't know if it's every week or bi-weekly, but you can catch a DJ discussion moderated by different amazing DJs. I moderate. We have Kristen Wilson that moderates. I think Jordan Marshall also moderates as well. A couple other great shows as well that they do. So they are bringing you content for days, for musicians, DJs, everybody. Follow QSC if you are not already. Check out them. But especially the QSC DJ discussions where I'm moderating, and we have this amazing panel and other DJs that join us. But again, I'm DJ Keelez. I like to end on a great positive note, and I always say, hey, just shout something out. Let everybody know what you want to say. If you want to give them word of advice, shout yourself out. Whatever you want to do, this is your time. But again, I'm DJ Keelez. You can follow. It's always the opposite way. You can follow me at DJ Keelez on all social media. I am randomly not DJ related, but I will be on the ABC network Thursday at 10 p.m. on the.
Woo! That's tomorrow.
Catch me live on TV. That's going to be a great fun time. So once again, 10 p.m. tomorrow, ABC Network at 10 p.m. Pacific. I don't know what the other time zones are, but the Hustler, ABC Network, also Hulu, and I will be DJing 3 amazing events this weekend, which are private events, but I'm super excited about it. So follow me on social if you want to catch those. AK, shout yourself out, mama.
AK-47, the real DJ AK-47 everywhere, email, Mixcloud, wherever. This weekend, I will be DJing the opening of Susie Cakes in Pasadena this Saturday, 9/25, 1 to 3. And then I will be at a day party called The Picnic the following Sunday. So if you want any information on that, just hit me up on Instagram. And I will be back on Twitch mañana, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. All right. KrisCut, what about you? I see your hands in there, so I'm calling you.
So I'm DJ. Oopsie, I did the wrong point. KrisCut on Instagram, Mixcloud. I'm telling you, I've tried to practice it too. Tonight I have game night on my channel. If you like word games, drawing games, a little bit of basketball on Twitch, twitch.tv DJ KrisCut. So we celebrated 12,000 followers. And then on the weekend, I'm gonna go ahead and I do restaurant gigs, guys. So I'll be at Tao Restaurant Lounge and then Beauty and Essence Restaurant Lounge Friday and Saturday, respectively. And then I got 80s night on Sunday. So I mean, you can find me like on Twitch a lot because I just love to pop up and hang out with the community and drink at home where I don't have to drive anywhere. I could just crawl to bed. So that's where you can find me. Everybody stay positive and strong during these crazy times. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. I'm going to be in Vegas too, the beginning of November, KrisCut, so I'm going to hit you up.
Yay, cool.
If you're seeing people COVID, we can keep it distant. We can socially distance see it.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. All right, Anna, what's up with you? What are you up to?
Okay, everybody. This weekend, I think I'm just at STK and then the Whaler, the Venice Whaler. It's pretty chill weekend. But that's it. You can follow me at Annalyze. Those are my credentials. Pretty much everywhere. And yeah, that's about it.
Tell me why Anna's so cool. She pointed the first time and got it. Did anybody notice that? She didn't even struggle. This is the first time back out. She went up. And I mean, like, can I be as cool as you? I mean, I'm just trying to say, me.
I don't know, man. No, I'm just kidding.
And also, if you want to see some hilarious memes, follow her on social media.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Every box that you could possibly, everything you've ever.
I'm like, where does she find these? Like,
no one's safe. No one's safe in my memes.
Nobody is safe.
Not even myself. I pick on myself all the time. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I've screenshotted a few. I've reposted. I'm gonna be.
That's what they're for. Share them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I am just in awe of how amazing you all are, and everyone on this panel is just killing it, and just keep killing it, and keep sharing the knowledge, and just doing what you all do best, because it is just so unique and creative and just amazing in its own right, and just all of us are so great. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you people in the comment section. Thank you to QSC for giving us an opportunity to speak. We appreciate you. And shout out always to the amazing female DJs, non-binary DJs, male DJs, all DJs in the world. We shout you out and we salute you. Thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you on the next panel. Have a great day, everybody.